I'm just now getting done watching the Kingsman 2. So we're now at the end, in case y'all haven't seen it. But as y'all know, I'm a caregiver, and the caucasity occurred once again. Um, and I'm still trying to replay it in my head because this is bad. So I'm a caregiver for a nice liberal couple. Um, the husband is nonverbal due to a stroke, and the wife is pacifist, to say the least. If there are any black people in this live stream other than myself, you know that pacifist just means compliant, complacent with fascists. Is that the only answer to fascism is a stern talking to in their eyes? And that's why I really don't trust them like that. But anywho's it's, so here's what happened. So I'm on the clock, and me and the wife get to talking about the racial history of Oregon, right? We're talking about how Oregon has had racial exclusionary laws, about how Oregon has over 30 natural landmarks named after racial slurs. So with that being said, here's what went down. Hold on, let me turn this shit down. It only makes the caucasity worse. I'm getting PTSD flashbacks and shit. It's a little too yee for me. Anyway, so here's what happened. We're talking, and she says the full-on N-word twice. Once with the hard ER, and then a second time with an A at the end. And she's explaining that this natural landmark was named after a black man that lived in Oregon that was a blacksmith. And so they named this fucking mountain or some shit after him. N-word mountain. My question is, why did you say the whole ass N-word in front of me? I'm not being rude at all. What is caucasity? The situation that I just described. The audacity of a white person saying something racial. That's, yeah, the caucasity. And it occurred today. And I'm still trying to unpack that, so to speak. So, if I'm talking to a white person about an uncomfortable racial history, why does that translate to, yeah, sure, say the full racial slur in front of me? Nowhere did I say that. So, what the fuck? What happened? Okay, so here's what happened. So, me and my client's wife that I caregive for, we're talking about the racial history of Oregon. And she's like, yeah, there's this mountain named after a black man. However, that's not how she said it. She said, oh yeah, that's N-word mountain. But she said the full shit. Like, there was no hesitation. None. What the fuck? See, the caucasity has occurred. And then she said it a second time, but with an A at the end. So, so how is it that me, a black person, can have a full-on conversation about racial slurs in America without actually saying the N-word, but you, a white woman, have to say the whole ass N-word with your chest? That's what I want to know. Because what was the reason? You could have said, "Oh, this mountain is named after a harmful racial slur." No, you said the full shit. You didn't even hesitate. Black people, don't y'all know when y'all talking to white people and obviously they're uncomfortable as hell and they're trying to not be problematic, right? And they hesitate when they say African American or they hesitate when they say black. Like I've experienced that and I'm like, it's okay to say black. What's not okay is what the fuck she just said. And that was the whole N word twice with the ER, and then she dropped the ER and then added the A, and then white explained why it was that the mountain was named a racial slur. She was like, oh yeah, they did it because during that time it was their way of commemorating this black man that was a really good blacksmith. And I'm like, madam, Oregon still had black exclusionary laws. Obviously, white people were tokenizing this one black man and still hated black people at the end of the day, so much to the point where they named natural landmarks after racial slurs. I'm pretty sure that the indigenous people that lived here had way cooler names for the shit that's around us. And y'all just took that away and inserted racial slurs instead. And I'm supposed to be happy with that shit? What is the name of the mountain? Inward Mountain. Was I not clear? Inward Mountain. Fill in the fucking blanks. So, blacknically speaking, what would y'all have done in that situation? Because it's like you can. The worst part of it is that she's friends with my boss. That's a stupid name for a mountain. It's Oregon. They are fucking racist as fuck out here. Yes. I was born there, never heard of it. Well, now you do. You have now. Do you want to know why you've never heard of it? It's because the whole ass history that you learned about from the state that you were born in was completely whitewashed. Of course you don't know what it is. Oregon's history goes farther than just exclusionary laws. It goes way further than that. Literally, just Google it. How many national landmarks in Oregon have racial slurs in them? We literally have a road here in Southern Oregon called Dead Indian Memorial Road. And it's up to the indigenous tribes that are currently here to rename it. And they still haven't come up with a name yet. And that's not my struggle. I just support whatever the hell they come up with. But at the end of the day, that's the climate here. And a lot of people out here are like, oh my God, but it's the Democrats that were Klan members. And it's like, I don't think you quite understand. There is a such thing as a fucking party switch. Okay, Ku Klux Karen? The Klan of yesterday were Democrats, and today that translates into them being Republicans. And regardless of what political party these white supremacists are a part of, there is no political party in America that has the interests of black people at heart. So why are we pretending like it's just one party that's racist towards black people, and instead of just saying it's all y'all? Like, who? Oh God, the party switch nonsense. Why do you call it nonsense if that's literal history? It's documented. People with PhDs have talked about this. Like, it's all y'all. Have we not? Serious? This country. If the South is where the cotton and the indigo was grown, what did the North have? The factories to produce textiles and shit. So it was a partnership, y'all. Can we move past that now? The whole country's racist. Not just the South. North profited from slavery too. Let's not. Moving along. So in this situation, I am the only black person in the room, and you just don't have an issue as a white woman, and you claim to be a liberal, and then you just full on say a racial slur. And then you constantly, and before we even had this conversation, she was constantly telling me how, she's unlearning shit and how she had racist ass parents. And I'm like, well, the apple certainly didn't fall fucking far. And it's like, and here's my whole thing about it though, is that she's the type of liberal, and I'm sure they all kind of have this harmful ass ideology, is that black people and other people of color should applaud mediocrity. As in, we should applaud when they don't say the N-word. We should applaud when they say, I am actively learning and you should congratulate me for it. Like, stop. Why would I applaud you on the bare minimum? Why? I love how I get on here and I'm talking about the fact that a whole ass liberal white woman is in front of my face and said the N-word twice. And the first question y'all ask is, so can black people be racist towards white people? First of all, stop fucking playing oppression Olympics, white people. Not every fucking thing is about you. See, that's the fucking problem. And that's why we say this is the caucasity showing, is that every single time we are talking about race relations, y'all want to be like, but my feelings too. It's very much giving, it's my party and I'll cry if I want to vibes. I don't want that. Okay? Shut the hell up. Fuck. Like, what the entire, like, it costs $0 to just not say the racial slur. If you would have just said, oh, this natural monument is named after a racial slur. Or if you would have just said, this mountain has the N-word in it. No, you just reduced the whole fraction and just straight up said the shit. And they wonder why we don't trust y'all like that. Like, we don't fuck with y'all like that. We revoked all of the invitations to the cookout because of this shit. It's over. Like, no, the cookout has ended. No, we not doing this no more. No. Victim mentality, biggest problem in America. Are we sure it isn't white supremacy? Because I'm pretty sure it's white supremacy, but go off, I guess. Nobody wants to hang out with you. Okay. First of all, I'm an Aquarius, so bold of you to assume I wanted to hang out with any fucking body. Jot that down. He really thought he ate when he said that shit too. Bitch, I don't want to go. Right, like y'all on my live stream though. No one wants to hang out with you as I'm tuning in to what you're saying. Hanging on every word. I'm your biggest fan. Like, bitch, I am the most unconcerned about you. But at the end of the day, I am obligated to be at this woman's house because I get paid to give her husband a fucking shower. I'm a caregiver. And she just straight up says the N-word. Fuck the conversation we were having before. You just straight up said the shit. And then There was no apology. It was like, oh, I'm sorry, that was my parents coming out. No, none of that shit. You just said it and then kept it pushing. And what the fuck am I supposed to do? She's friends with my boss. The entire reason why I'm even over there is because my boss was like, okay, so I think you'll like this couple. I think it's a step up from the client that you had before. You know, the client whose cousin called you Aunt Jemima. We think this is a step up because they're liberal. Bitch. White people. White people. Y'all. I'm just supposed to come to your house at 7 o'clock in the morning, give your husband a shower, dress him, and leave. That's all I gotta do. That's all I gotta do. Why you gotta say racial slurs? There's no reason for it. There's no reason for it. So that brings me to, we're not all the same, you know. Okay, if it wasn't all of y'all, we wouldn't have this fucking problem. That is my entire point, is that if it's not you saying the N-word, it's you staring at the black person that heard it to see what we gonna do. Instead of you stepping up and saying, hey, Kathy, that was wrong. What the fuck you just said? I'm gonna need you to step back. Like, no, y'all don't fucking do that. Y'all don't do that shit. Y'all don't check your family members. You don't check your white friends when it ain't no black people around. Hell, y'all might as well just join in unison. Y'all are fucking responsible too. Silence is violence, bitch. Get out of here with that. It's not all of us. Yes, it is, Becky. Yes. We would not have this problem if it wasn't all of you in some way, shape, or form. We've been through this already. Black people been done with the bullshit. Like, if it's not all white people, then you shouldn't be offended. Then you know exactly the kind of white people that I'm talking about. But if you felt obligated to say, not all white people, then bitch, you guilty. You guilty. That's your conscience speaking up. The caucasity is seeping. Live with it for a second. Analyze. Why am I upset? Just like the other day, I got on this live stream and I was talking about how, yes, I do have a white friend, but he's not a white friend. He is a friend who happens to be white. And we frequently have the race talk. Frequently, as in it happens more than once. So he has questions, I answer them. I have questions, he answers them. Mostly because I want to know, what do his suburban white parents be saying when ain't no black people in the room? And he tells me. We have the race talk all the fucking time. He's like, I don't understand why this part is racist. Can you explain it to me? And then I tell him. So then I get on this live stream and I go, okay, so if you call yourself an ally to your black friends, if you want to call yourself the kind of white person that doesn't tokenize their black friends, you actually, care about their well-being, then you won't be upset when your black friend calls you out on some problematic shit you may have said. Because that's the true teller of them all. If you truly do not tokenize black people and you are, you ride or die for your friend that happens to be black, then you're not going to get upset if they call you out on some racial shit you said. Because no one is born knowing how to be an ally. And that's it. What is your knee-jerk reaction when your black friend says, hey, what you said 5 minutes ago was actually kind of fucked up and racist, and here's how? If you say, nuh-uh, look at all I've done for you, I'm not racist, then yes, you are, because you're tokenizing your black friend. You're literally displaying that it's okay for your friendship to continue as long as your black friend doesn't call you out on your caucasity. But that's the conversation y'all are never ready to have. The fuck? Get the fuck out of here with that. Like, it happens every single time. And I've had this conversation time and time again. And that is the reason why I only have one white best friend. Because when I say, hey, that was fucked up, here's why, he goes, oh, damn, my bad. Let me unlearn that. And then we move the fuck on. Not one POC that I know could say that about myself. If you felt the need to say that, I know for a fact that, yeah, you gaslight like a motherfucker. And I only say that because not only is my best friend, who happens to be white, pansexual, as in he gets hated on by the super straights, you know, the fragilest of the fragile of the whites, but he also gets hated on by his parents and shit for being queer, but he still speaks his mind. And then at the end of the day, I don't have to tell him to punch a Nazi. He just does the shit. So we've been cool ever since, is that I don't have to tell you when shit goes down, I can call you. Like, for real. Really, Taylor Ritchie 50, first of all, not even worth my time. You just scary as fuck, okay? Black people cannot be racist. Stop getting beside yourself. These Mayo maggots get on my fucking nerves with that bullshit. This is why other countries make fun of us, because we put the same old soggy white men in the White House as president. I could tell you that much. I mean, they make fun of us because you will literally see a white person put on a woman's brief, or a thong, if you will, walk into a store and compare themselves to Rosa Parks. That's why other countries make fun of us. I mean, I don't think no one plays a victim better than a white person, because y'all will straight up go, these masks equal slavery. But then you don't want to actually learn what American chattel slavery truly is. And go, you're gonna indoctrinate our kids and teach them communism. No, bitch, we just trying to tell the truth about what your ancestors did. The fuck? Like, be dramatic as fuck for no reason. For no reason. Anybody trying to do all that? The level of delusion is truly amazing. First of all, yo cracker ass still watching. Jot that down. Second, if we're going to talk delusion, isn't there an investigation about what happened last year, January 6th? Now, if you want to talk delusion, look at your peoples. Check your mans in them, okay? Don't worry about black people over here, because we was minding our black ass business when y'all was showing y'all ass last year. So. But anyway, like, that's the kind of shit that I deal with as a caregiver in Oregon. Caregiving while black? Oh, it's bad. It's fucking bad. And then the same woman who really said the N-word twice in my face was like, yeah, it's that generational hatred, and I don't know where it comes from. And I'm like, it comes from slavery. She was all like, what? No. Trying to, whitewash and whitesplain. I'm like, no, it quite literally comes from slavery. You don't go from believing that a literal human being is your property to after the war thinking, oh, well, guess you and I are equal now. No! You learned that shit from slavery, and then it gets passed the fuck down. That is the entire point of stereotypes and racial slurs. The entire point is to dehumanize. They are tools for dehumanization. That way, y'all motherfuckers don't flinch or budge when another black person gets lynched. That's what it's for. And it's working. And every single time we bring up, yeah, so this comes from slavery, y'all want to go, no, you're playing a victim. No, no, don't believe it. Don't believe it. I don't see it. I don't see race. I don't care if you're purple. Bitch! Really? Really? You don't care if I'm purple. And yet here you are in my inbox with the caucasity. See, that's the kind of shit that I'm talking about. Where do you live in Oregon? So I live in Southern Oregon. I live in Medford. Historically, it is a sundown town. In case people don't know, well, now you know. So the fact that here in Southern Oregon, there is a variety of white people talking about some, I don't see color, why it's everything about race, these damn Antifa. We know where it comes from. Their mammies and pappies got some old dusty Klan robes hanging up in the closet right the fuck now. But y'all not ready for that conversation. Like I keep telling y'all this shit. So here's my issue is that I'm still trying to dig up information about Black history in Southern Oregon specifically. And all I'm able to find is Black history going on in Polk and Multnomah County. So we're talking Eugene, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, Salem, those areas. But down here in Southern Oregon, you know, where the cluster of sundown towns are, I can't find shit. And there's a reason. And the fact that y'all are like, it was so long ago. Bitch, Oregon didn't take the N-words out of their state constitution until 2002. Y'all, the climate here, the climate, it took every fiber of my being not to go on social media and say, I don't know why everyone is so excited about Medford, Oregon, or any part of Oregon, really, having a white Christmas when every Christmas has been white. I really wanted to say that shit. Cause, like, look at your household. Every day is white. Do you own a mirror? Right. And people was way too quick to say that, oh, everything's all good now. There's Black people in commercials now. Racism is over. And that's another thing. Black people, how do we feel about the really weird burst of representation when we turn on the TV and you see a Black couple on the screen? But ain't shit structurally in this country has changed. So, systemic racism is still here, but hey, at least I get to see a Black person in a Tide commercial. Am I the only one that thought that was weird as fuck? A white Christmas refers to whether... Bitch, I'm being facetious. We know. We know. I swear to... Child, anyways. That's because the people you vote for lie to you. You act like there are politicians that don't lie to us. And that's the scary part. There is no political party that has the interests of Black people at heart. And I keep telling y'all this shit. Just because you are a Democrat, that as a white person, that does not automatically make you not racist. Stop saying that shit. Stop. Like that, like I automatically don't want to be around you just because you think that. I am looking at your actions. I am looking at what you say out your mouth to determine that. You voted for the guy who said poor kids are just as bright as white kids. Okay, and you voted for the guy that wants to bone his own daughter. Next. You voted for the guy that's best friends with Jeffrey Epstein, but then, as soon as we said Black Lives Matter, you were like, children's lives matter, but then actively voted for a pedophile. First of all, get out of here with that dusty bullshit. Next. Anywho's, it's like, can we just, say out loud that people in power have too much power, that exploitation comes in many different forms, and that if your whole ideology is to focus on classism, but you don't want to say shit about racism, that you're not an ally and you're just as bad as fascists? I don't know what to tell you. You are wrong. Get off your high horse, lady. Bitch, come get me. The fuck? Trump 2024 for what? The cemetery? The cemetery. That's where he headed. It ain't gonna be no Oval Office. It's gonna be a pine box. He is one Big Mac away. He not gonna last in prison. He gonna be there for 3 days and kill over. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, look at them trying to defend Trump and shit and say, what? Biden's racist. Can we just agree that they both are racist? Why is it that every time a black person gets on their own live stream, y'all want to debate which dusty white colonizer is the most racist? Bitch, both of them. The fuck? What? Biden is a lizard. Yes, I believe that shit. I believe that shit. Trump is not racist. You're hurting my white feelings. Where's your proof? Sir, where's your chin? Before we start demanding some proof, can we demand some, like, you... It's a whole lot of inbreeding in your family. Look at you, fragile than a motherfucker. I swear, these saltines is salty. Oh, look at him, typing in all caps. You big mad. Oh my God. It's okay though. It's okay. Y'all bootlickers, y'all need to go somewhere with that nonsense. Do you not think you're racist though? First of all, I don't have the political or social power to oppress white people. I don't. I really don't. And then here's another thing. Black folks have already had the conversation of white people really be telling on themselves. And this is proof as to how. Because y'all were so quick to shout reverse racism before even researching what actual racism is. And to be honest, y'all are scared that we're gonna do to you what y'all dusty ass ancestors did to ours. Black people ain't worried about y'all. We've already discussed it. What exactly would I do with a white slave exactly? Like, y'all can't stay out in the sun too long. I don't trust you to cook soul food. Why the fuck would I want to enslave you exactly? What do I gain from it? No, I just want y'all to stay out of black people business. That's not reverse racism. That's just being honest. But y'all can't mind your business. That's the whole thing. Y'all can't mind your business. And we keep telling y'all. Y'all ever be on Witch Talk? And white people have the caucasity on Witch Talk because y'all will culturally appropriate closed practices. Indigenous people tell y'all to stop doing that shit. People who practice voodoo and hoodoo, they keep telling y'all to stop fucking with shit and y'all don't listen. That's your problem. If you listened the first time, y'all wouldn't have to go through half the shit you go through. Shit. For real. Y'all ever notice that scary movies be about white people not leaving shit alone? Like, let's take, for example, recently I watched the newer version of Evil Dead. And honestly, if you come across a book that's covered in barbed wire, human skin, and a trash bag, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna investigate further. You deserved everything coming to your ass. You ignored all the signs, and you kept investigating. Stop that shit. Stop. It wasn't for you to open. Clearly. But y'all can't mind your business. You can't. Just like, okay. Case in point. Way back in, I want to say 2017, there was this meme that I saw go viral on Facebook where it was Marge Simpson and she was like doing a weird ass pose, but her hands were covered up and it said inward pass. Now, I don't know about other black folk, but I saw white people posting that shit on their timelines. And I thought to myself, so white people are giving each other the inward pass. What is the inward pass? We never know. There is, if you are not black, don't say it. But see, y'all hate when black people set a very simple boundary. Like, what is so important that you have to, and y'all don't fight this hard with other racial slurs. Y'all don't go this fucking hard. You don't. Like when it comes to racial slurs geared towards Mexican people, and it's only recently because of the coronavirus that we've revamped racial slurs towards people of Asian descent. But with the N-word, it's been generations. Y'all want to say that shit so fucking bad. But see, the thing is though, is that you want to say the N-word with zero repercussions. And then want to play victim when there are repercussions. And then flip the script and go, well, actually, you're a racist for holding me accountable. It's very telling. Exactly. Literally, individuals can be prejudiced, but minorities do not have the power to systemically oppress. The fact that I still have to have the conversation with white people that live in Oregon that know it is not heritage. It definitely is hate. You are third generation Oregonian. You had zero to do with the Confederacy, but yet strangely you fly one particular battle flag. Why is that? Compensating for something. You miss slavery even though you live in the one state that, abolished it before the rest of America did. And strangely, heritage, not hate, is what you hanging outside your house. Honestly, white people are something the fuck else. So, another thing, the Mayo maggots like to get on my case because I have a mixed child. And I do. His name's Eric. He's 4.5. But anywho's it's, so they get mad when I say that at the end of the day, my son is going to grow up to be a black man. Apparently they have a problem with that. It's like, I didn't make the rules, y'all did. Did y'all think who came up with the one drop rule? You! Anyway, so oftentimes I get a very microaggressive question. Are you going to allow your son to refer to himself as white? To which I then respond, no, in fact, because whiteness is inherently anti-black. So that's why. Instead, he can take a DNA test whenever he gets ready, and he can determine if his so-called white half is Polish or Welsh or Irish or Italian, any of these, and learn more about those cultures. See, that's what he can do. Y'all need to hyphenate. I keep telling white folks, if you want so badly to be anti-racist, start hyphenating. Because I know y'all got family history archives and shit. Y'all have the privilege of having this kind of information on fucking hand. It's not like you went through generations of chattel slavery to where the only thing you can find of your ancestors is a bill of sale. So check all the way back to motherfucking Ellis Island and determine what category do you fall under, and then hyphenate from there. But you won't do that because there's something special that you gain if you continue to identify as white. Can we please continue to have that conversation? Like, fuck all the bullshit. What I'm really tired of is the fact that we still have to be calm and collected as we're talking about race relations. Black people, that is beneath us. At the end of the day, black people, I'm tired. They know what they doing. They know what they doing. They don't need us to come up with some clever turn of phrase in order to explain the multifaceted oppression that black people go through here in America. No, they know exactly what it is that they're fucking doing. And it's beneath us to continue to talk to them as if they're fucking stupid. No, they're not stupid. They're doing exactly what their ancestors, what their dusty, dirty motherfucking ancestors taught them to fucking do. We need to stop. End it. We just... They know what they're doing. We don't need to... No. Just like... Like, look at them right now. The Mayo maggots, the bleach demons, they in my comments right now, just in they feelings, watching me. Honestly, I got on Beyonce's internet to talk to black people. Weird how y'all entered into a live stream while white called Racial Slurs, and you just had to investigate. See how y'all can't mind y'all business? I was talking to black people mostly. I don't really understand why it is that I still have to answer to you. I really don't have to, but here you are, colonizing my comment section yet again. Just listening to your stupidity, you're not centering my white feelings. Your experience is invalidated because it makes my whiteness feel uncomfortable. Y'all need a new playbook. You know what you're doing. Seriously, instead of addressing race relations in America, you thought that the next best thing was to racially gaslight. You figure if you just don't look at it, you don't have to talk about it. See, and I say this because I have dated outside of my race twice. And fuck do I regret that shit. But here's what happened. So my ex before the father of my child, he was white Hispanic, spoke like fluent Spanish and all that shit. So we were together 3 months. And then after those 3 months, he ghosted my ass. Then started calling me all types of racial slurs via text message because apparently he wasn't man enough to say them to my face because he knew exactly what would happen if he did that shit. So he resorted to just doing that shit from the comfort of his phone. You know, little keyboard warrior type shit, right? So tell me why a few years later, long since after I had my son and whatnot, I see this motherfucker at a no mask rally. So, backstory, because I already made a TikTok video about it. His name was Frank. Basically made his entire personality surrounding the Joker. Honestly, that should have been a red flag. But at the time, I figure, oh, you have a Joker shirt. That's okay, I guess. Batman's not exactly my favorite cartoon, but do you, boo-boo. But, anywho's it's so... Come to find out, after the relationship was over, I find out that this dirty motherfucker gave me an STD, but then had the nerve to call me the hoe. So when I say that, whenever I see a white person talk about some no masks, masks equal slavery, I automatically assume you have an STD some fucking where. Because y'all don't go to the doctor, you don't protect yourself, you don't wash your hands. I automatically think you a dirty motherfucker. To be perfectly honest with you. Yeah. If you are that pressed about wearing a mask, I know damn well you more pressed about wearing a condom. Way more pressed about going to the doctor when your shit burned. No, like, fuck all the bullshit. Like, honestly, dating has never been easier because you know everything you need to know about a person just based off of how do you feel about masks? Because as soon as a person goes off about how much they hate masks, then you know what kind of person you're dealing with. Protect yourself, stay safe. If they feel that uncomfortable about wearing a mask, they not wearing a condom. They dirty as fuck. Move around. Completely serious. Being completely serious. And honestly, unlearn the negative stigma around STDs. I feel like the dirtiest people on the planet are the people that just willingly go out and spread this shit and then don't get checked every couple months. Why? Why don't you? Planned Parenthood exists for a reason. So that's how I feel. Whew. But anyway, back to the caucasity. What really grinds my gears is that the hurt bleach demons in my comments don't necessarily understand all of the mental anguish Black people and other people of color have to go through if we want to consider dating outside of our race. If we want to do that. Do you know we have to go through steps and procedures in order to determine if we want to go through with being associated with this particular white person? First off, does this white person have tribal tattoos? If this white person has tribal tattoos, move around. Move around. If this particular white person says my great-great-grandmother was a Native American princess, move around. Move around. If this particular white person says the Irish were slaves too, move around. Move around. Don't do it. It's only going to get worse from there. And I know I am hitting some nerves tonight, but I am waking up and choosing violence because I swear to God, but even after checking all of those boxes, you still have the privilege of withdrawing your allyship card. You can revoke your own allyship card at the end of the fucking day. You can go from I am racially inclusive to that crazy N-word bitch in a second. All because a Black person hurt your feelings or you broke up with that person. So, like, to the people of color and to the Black people that have actually found a person that happens to be white and chose them to be a spouse and they're not problematic in that regard, props to you. But let's not sit here and pretend like dating outside of your race is fucking easy. And to be perfectly honest with you, and I say this with the utmost sincerity, I'm really tired of having to explain that I'm tired of having to explain my Blackness to my spouse, which is why I stopped dating outside of my race, because it's fucking exhausting. I'm tired of that shit. I still have the ongoing race talks with my son's white half of the family because I have to, and it's for his safety as well as my own. That's why I do what I do. But at the end of the day, I'm not dating outside of my race no more. I can't fucking do it. I cannot. Then in addition to that, When it comes to liberation movements, as a black woman, we frequently talk about how black men want us to put our womanness to the side and join with them in black solidarity, but then they still have the audacity with their chauvinistic bullshit. That's something that we in the black community have all the time. And I still come across some of those hoteps, some of those, problematic black men. And here's what I'm talking about. If you come across a man that's homophobic, best believe he's also sexist. I won't be explaining further. So I wonder, is this part of the white privilege where when a white woman dates and, dates within her race, dates a white man, do you check to see if he's racist? Like, aside from checking to see if he has a good job, if he comes from a nice family or whatever, do you check the racism? Because I honestly don't think y'all do. Maybe recently y'all started doing that shit. But here's my point. So I came from a group home a couple years back. And naturally, because Southern Oregon, I'm the only black person there. There was this one white girl, her name was Savannah. And by the time, we all left the damn group home and went our separate ways, she got with this guy who apparently is a Confederate sympathizer, if you will. Now, knowing that, it's like, Savannah, you had a black roommate, if you will, for like 6 months. And we've talked about race before, talking about the 3/5 a person rule and the Constitution and all this other kind of stuff. So why would you then date a man who said with his whole chest that he loves sleeping in his Confederate blanket? Because, bitch, if you sleeping with him, I know you saw the blanket, so why did you sleep with him? So, like, that further lets me know that maybe race relations ain't the first thing on your mind when you date, but it is for my black ass. So that's why, I don't date outside my race no more. Because shit like that. That's a fair point. Like I'm saying, it's not like that everywhere. Sir, are you black? For real. Like, it's always the people that are not black that are saying, it's not that bad. We wasn't talking to you. Y'all need to, no. So you ask black men if they're racist? No. I ask black men, how do you feel about black women? What are your thoughts? See, for me, here's what I mean. When it comes to dating while black, and I happen to be, in the presence of a black man, I assess how he talks about women, and I assess how he feels about homosexuality. Because if a man is uncomfortable with homosexuality, the sexism comes immediately afterwards. I'm just saying that. And I've come across colorist black men. Colorist. See, these are the types of other things that I'm looking at dating within my fucking race. If you really wanted to know. And here's what I mean. So on TikTok, I remember there was this whole conversation that black women were having about how There's a whole different experience if you're a darker skinned black woman. It's a whole different experience versus if you are a light skinned black woman. And for me, I'm like caught in the middle because for one thing, I certainly am not a light skinned black woman. And at the same time, I feel uncomfortable calling myself a dark skinned black woman because I'm from Baltimore City, Maryland. So full of black people, full of black people. So in a place that is predominantly black, I was never called dark skinned. And back when I was in the 5th grade, there was this one light skinned black boy that was constantly making fun of this dark skinned black girl. And he would say that she was dark as night and all this other type of, colorist bullshit. So that shit does start at a young age. So the fact that I don't have that lived experience myself, but then to call myself a dark skinned black woman, I'm like, I feel like I'm taken away from their experience just by doing that. And that's how I feel. But then flip that to where I'm living in Southern Oregon. It is predominantly white. And that was the first time in my life that I was ever called dark. So in a predominantly white area, I'm called dark skinned. But then in a predominantly black area, I might as well just be another fly on the wall. Like I don't even exist really. Like have I been disrespected by black men? Yes, but I've never been, called dark as night or something like that. Like I'm just, so that's how I feel. So there is levels to this shit in terms of colorism. So then why choose to live in rural Southern Oregon? Well, because I was escaping a domestic violence situation. That's the fuck why. Like, no one comes to Oregon because their lives are going good. I swear to God, y'all fucking... Seriously. Okay, I live in Southern Oregon. So you come here either one of 3 reasons. One, it's a domestic violence situation and you trying to escape your uncomfortable living situation. 2, you are a recovering addict, and I know that's ironic that you would come to a place like Medford to, but then 3rd, you trying to retire out here, okay? So Southern Oregon, where I live, is a retirement kind of fucking place. It's full of nursing homes, it's full of assisted living facilities. Being a caregiver is like one of, the biggest popular jobs simply because they're always hiring. There's always a need for more because it's a retirement kind of place. And if you're not here to retire, then you must be here to, ironically, get clean. Because that's exactly what the hell happened with my grandmother and my grandfather. Now, mind you, their, at the time, drug of choice was not meth. It was crack cocaine. So there's that. So living in a place like Medford, they're like, not my poison. So I ain't gonna touch that shit. I'm gonna just focus on getting clean and keep it at that. So honestly, it's like one of those 3 things. You escaping a domestic violence situation, you trying to get clean from some drugs that's not exactly that popular here, or 3rd, you just trying to retire. That's it. Like no one says, you know what, I'm gonna move to Oregon because it just seems nice. And you're in your mid to late 20s. Like that's not... Portland, I kind of get, but Southern Oregon specifically, nah. Sounds like South Florida. Honestly, probably. So, but I just wanted to get that off my chest real fast because this has been on my mind all damn day. What town? So I live in Medford, Oregon. Historically a sundown town. So, isn't Portland grunge home? Okay, so Portland... So a lot of people living in Southern Oregon hate Portland because whenever a person says, hey, I'm from Oregon, they automatically assume Portland. I'm personally not a fan of Portland because the parking sucks. Other people aren't a fan of Portland because lumber sexuals, if you will, where they wear the flannel, they have a very trim, tailored beard, but they've never chucked wood in their life. Home of, I want to say casual racism and IPAs. That is how I would describe Portland. And I'm not even, being facetious. I'm being completely honest with you. If I were to describe Portland in 2 words, IPAs and then racism. Like that's just gentrification. I'm just saying. Um and then I live maybe a stone's throw away from Jacksonville, Oregon. Jacksonville, Oregon is Daddy's Money part of Oregon. If you are from Jacksonville, your parents own a winery or they own a large ass farm filled with fruits and shit and they make bank. Okay. You don't, I, it's bad. It's bad. Well, Daddy's Money is Lake Oswego. Oh my God. But trust and believe, Jacksonville has all of the major symptoms of gentrification, but with none of the black people. Like, because at least in a gentrified area, you'll see a black liberal some fucking where, but not Jacksonville. That is Daddy's Moneyville. It's like this big around, and it's full of farms and shit that's like lined with pear fruits. So you should move to the UK. Ooh, I mean, the socialized medicine is definitely promising, but sometimes I find myself on the black and British side of TikTok where they're like, yes, it's fucking racist out here. So it's like, y'all need to address that yourselves. I may not be worried about getting shot, but I hear y'all got a stabbing people problem. I heard about that. Beans for breakfast. She should move, period. Well, the fact of the matter is, I make white people feel fucking uncomfortable. So the way that I see it, I'm doing my motherfucking job. Just by existing, white people just display the caucasity just because I existed in the same place they are. What's the best place for black people to expat? Insert country of Africa, whether that's Nigeria or Gambia or Senegal. And that's just my personal opinion. If I, like, when I expat, I am going to an African country. Fuck this. I'm serious. And I only say that because I feel that if black people directed all of our creative energy, all of our time, and what resources we collectively have as a community, and we focus that on African countries instead of America, where would America be? Because, like, what if all black people left America right now and took our culture with us? We took away hip hop. We took away the jazz, our clothing, our mannerisms, our hairstyle. We took all that shit. We took all the seasonings back. And we just up and left one day. and we just started doing it big in an African country some goddamn where. I feel like America would freak the fuck out. So crime will go down. Are you sure about that? First of all, y'all out here y'all out here scared to wear a mask. You storm capitals, you shoot up schools. I feel like crime will be where it's at. Right, like we took away all the buildings that we built. We took down Wall Street because literal Wall Street was created from the profits of slavery. If we took back all of the fruits that were harvested from slavery, America would have nothing. And that is a and I don't mean America as in the place where indigenous people have to suffer through. I'm talking about the white people's version of America because indigenous people had their own shit going on before colonization. So I feel like if black people took all of the shit with us, indigenous people are going to be okay. It's the white people that are going to panic. But don't you imply slavery didn't exist in Africa at the same time? I feel like I feel like one of the biggest cognitive dissonance examples that white people have is when they talk about the wounds of colonization and imperialism that exist in Africa today, but they don't want to focus on how it got that way. They don't want to focus on just how much European countries contributed to the exploitation that goes on in Africa today. Because they don't say indigenous on indigenous crime. They don't say Asian on Asian crime. But they say black on black crime quite a bit. And that is a justification for, oh, well, if they're killing each other, then why can't we kill them too? Come on now. Come on. Try again. Black people are indigenous too. That's another lie too about America. Okay, so I actually kind of want to expand on that because I've been wondering because on the one hand, there are indigenous people saying that the Olmecs were not of African descent, that that's a lie. And it was Hoteps that are saying it or whatever. But then on the other hand, I have these historical flashcards from urban intellectuals, because of course I do. And they have a card on the Olmecs. And then on the back of the card, they mentioned a book called They Came Before Columbus. And this book was written by an African historian. So with that being said, we were so quick to talk about indigenous erasure, but black erasure is still happening. See, I have to take into consideration that black people were told we have no history because without us, there would be no history. And then on the other hand, I'm not going to deny that because of colonialism, that the history of indigenous people have been and currently still is being erased. So with both groups being victims of colonialism, whitewashing, and imperialism. It's like, who's telling the truth here? I wonder. Do you care that other countries are guilty of slavery at some point in their history, or just the USA? So because I'm not living in every country, that in fact I'm living in the USA, I'm going to focus on the USA. That's the thing, is that they think that African people are a unified people, that we're just one big, huge ethnic group. They don't see a diaspora. They just think that black is black. I mean, that's not the actual word they want to use, but you get what I'm saying. Who is forcing you to live here? How do I count the ways? You do understand the history of how it is that I got here, right? The fact that there was, in fact, a point in time where there was a mass exodus and black people were trying to leave, and then a whole history behind white people keeping them there because they realized that there were going to be no more black people to exploit, to nanny their children, to sweep up their roads and shit. That's the funny part about it. You really think that slavery ended 150 years ago, and that's so cute. The fact that down south there were still enslaved people way up into the 1960s. But of course you wouldn't know that because you just had a whitewashed version of a history even you barely know. And it's not like you read. And then even if you do read a book, I'm pretty sure it's by some right-wing idiot. So isn't that what you're using against white people? Why are we a monolith? Because you wanted to be a monolith. I thought that was kind of evident. You wanted to be a monolith. You made it that way. If you don't want to be recognized as a monolith, then hyphenate. Start hyphenating instead of saying, oh, I am white. You like to say that, oh, well, we're all Americans. Well, what kind of American are you? What kind? What kind? See, white people just refer to themselves as American because they are, whether they realize it or not, they're saying that they are the standard. They are the standard blueprint American, and that everyone else is an afterthought, is an offshoot, is a branch, but they're like the main branch. That's what they're saying, is that I'm an American. And then with black people, we have to specify and say, well, I'm a black American. And then people of Asian descent, well, I'm Asian American. But see, with white people, they just say American because see, the white was silent. But y'all never want to have this conversation because y'all can't even get over the fact that, yes, the Confederacy was racist. We still can't get past that with y'all. Y'all still want to deny that. Y'all want to say something. It was about states' rights. It was about taxes. It wasn't just about slavery. There was other things going on. Come on. back, like, no one's curbing you here. No one's curbing me here. Is that what it is? Raw Truth 5. No one's curbing me here. Right. They still want to be a monolith. Do you think black people can be racist? No. The only people that say black people can be racist